Joey Combs. I'll start over. Good afternoon. As Dave said, I am president of Local 517M, Joey Combs. I want to welcome any of our executive officers who have returned to this meeting. We had our board meeting this morning. Any of our executive board members from all of our boards here, our stewards, and any of you that are members. I come from the state of Michigan, our state of Michigan contract, the Human Services Support. And by job classification, I am an unemployment insurance examiner. We are here again today virtual because, who thought COVID would still be here like a year later, right? No. I do miss seeing and talking to everyone in person and hugs now. I miss hugs now. We do have a good agenda, so we hope you enjoy. And I just want to see if you can raise your hand in the chat. How many of you are first timers? Or just raise, no, you raise it on the screen, not in the chat. That means we got to see y'all on camera for us to see y'all hand raised.
Joey, would you prefer people turn on their cameras so you can see our lovely faces?
I don't want to scare some people away their first time around.
If they can.
Or you can drop it in the chat if you're a first timer, that's fine. But thank you all for welcome. I got one. Hi. Hold on, we're up to 2.
Oh, I saw a lot of hands go up there.
I can't see anybody, but oh, I see.
Joyce?
Yeah. Yep, I see it. Welcome. We are going to go ahead and move on our agenda and get started, but you can drop it in there if you still are, if you haven't done it. So I am turning it over. My agenda closed. 1 second. Who's next on the agenda? Jeremy?
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, there you go.
I'm turning it over to our executive director, Jeremy. Thank you. My computer locked while I was talking.
Well, hello, everybody. First, I want to just thank you for joining us, and I'll echo some of Joey's statements. It's glad to see some first-time folks on here, some members to learn a little more about what 517M is and what it has to offer, and also about maximizing your membership with this union. So, thanks everybody for attending. I want to give just a bit of a context for today and give you a little bit of a state of the union as to where we're at. So, I'm sure everyone is well aware that in the state of Michigan, labor has been fighting a lot of attacks over the last decade. Whether that be if you're a state employee, we've been fighting against rule changes at civil service. We've fought against reauthorizations and things that have made it more difficult to become and stay union members. On our school and local government side, if you work in one of our school units or one of our local government units, you know that there's been a constant contracting out of public sector work, a diminishing of the work that we do, and a big push by folks both in the legislature and other places to continually take that work, move it to different sectors, and pretty much eradicate the public sector. So that's one of the things that as a public sector union, obviously we are very much in tune with, and we've been fighting for a very long time on as a collective. So as it sits today, a lot of these different things have all kind of swirled together to create the perfect storm in which labor is now in an opportunity where we're doing a lot of pushback. Over the last 3 years, our local has somewhat reinvented itself as far as the way that we communicate, the way that we interact with our members. We're definitely a bottom-up organization, not a top-down. We are a structure made up of member leaders who all come from the different various units, whether that in our school and local government or our state units. So our entire executive board and structure, aside from myself, who is paid staff, along with our labor reps and others who work on your behalf, all come from the membership. Why do I tell you that? I tell you that because that's how you know that members are always the first thing we think about. So no matter what we're doing, whether it be a website, a communication, or a decision about the future of the union, it is always from that member vantage point of how do we make sure that this is going to best benefit our members. So where we sit today is that we are in several different fights. We are advocating on behalf of our members at the legislature for our state employees. We're looking at the state providing ARPA funds in the amount of $2,000 for recognition for work done throughout the pandemic. We're also having those individual battles in our school and local government. So with individual places, Saginaw and Detroit, to name a few, we have spoken with city councils, we have spoken with members that are on, good point, Brian, before I move on. ARPA funds are the American Rescue Plan Act. Those are funds, that's the $1.6 trillion rescue plan that President Biden signed into law to help the economy throughout COVID. So a lot of money was sent to the different states. Michigan is one of them. And so both our cities, municipalities, and our state overall received hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to do different pieces of work. And some of those included being able to give one-time funds to employees to recognize them for what they had done and what they continue to do, I should say. As public servants, we all know that if it wasn't for the jobs and work that you all do, not only our economy, but our state would have came to a screeching halt. Michiganders would not have been able to get the services that they desperately needed in a time that was very uncertain for everyone. So that's why we continue to fight for these ARPA funds to make sure that we can put money in the pockets of our members and also recognize the tremendous public service that they do on behalf of the people of this state. So a little more about where we're at. We're in a bit of a, I guess I'll call it a renaissance as a labor movement. We have a lot of people all across the country that have seen the importance of being part of organized labor, especially in the pandemic. There are a lot of employers who do not treat people so great, folks who do not provide proper PPE, protective equipment, folks who did not recognize employees or treated them very poorly when it came to protecting their safety and making sure that their families were also able to be taken care of. So that is something that as a labor organization, we fight for all the time to make sure that our employees, that our members and the employees of the various units that we represent are treated with respect and dignity, and that we're able to have a true conversation about labor and about what can actually make a work environment more suitable for those to actually recruit and to retain talent, especially in the public sector. So we have a couple of big things that are going on at SEIU Local 517M right now. We have a state and school, state and local government growth campaign. And what that means is Michigan became a right to work state in 2012, which means that you're not obligated to pay dues in this state. What we know that to really be is an obligation to represent everybody within the bargaining unit. And it is really just a ploy to try to take members out of the seat to have conversations to promote themselves. When you look at right to work, essentially what it does is it no longer gives you that seat at the table. When membership numbers drop and decline, it takes away monies from union treasuries to be able to fight on behalf of the members, to be able to arbitrate cases, to be able to push grievances, and to be able to do things that we need to do to protect that contract that we bargained so vigorously for, because any contract that we bargain is useless if we can't enforce it. And so we believe in that. We believe that the contract is meaningful and that we need to make every effort possible to make sure that we protect it. So part of that is making sure that we have high union density, that our solidarity is seen by our employers and it's felt by our members. And so that's why we've embarked last year and the year before on this growth campaign, in which we're going back to all of our units, working with the leadership in place in those different various areas. And we're really trying to talk about the value of the union. What does it mean to be a union member? What value does it bring to be a union member? And if there are things that members want to see or they wish their union to engage more on or possibly explore, we're trying to have those conversations as well. We can't read minds. We don't assume that we know everything of what you want. Most times, you probably all know that members are generally never shy. So if there's something that they're thinking, they pick up the phone and they let us know. But we're always looking for different ways to engage with you and to have a discussion. And so today, our goal here on the annual conference is to show you a little more of a glimpse of what 517M does, what type of benefits we offer as a local and to you as a member, and then give you a little more context about the campaigns that we're doing. So I will stop there, turn it back over to Dave, and we'll move through the rest of our program. So unless there are any questions, I'll go ahead and turn it back to Dave.
We have one question.
I see it. So Bill Young. So the rates, we have a system that is in place, Bill. Can't see you on my screen. But we do have some stuff that explains it a little more in depth. I'd be happy if you send me your email. I can send you a sheet that kind of breaks it down more for you.
Okay.
Thanks for the question.
Okay, I guess we're all done with the questions here. All right, I am going to turn it over to Mike Ajima from the Attorney General's office, who's going to talk about the expungement fairs.
All right.
So Mike. Are you there?
Don't see him on here, actually. Might have to reach out to him.
We may be a little ahead of schedule, Dave. So maybe
Yeah,
we'll just
we
move
are.
on to member benefits and we can bring Mike back if he hops on.
Okay. Well, I know Scott and Adrian are here. So Scott Kish, who is from SEIU Member Benefits, and Adrian Bonoff, hopefully I said that right, EBG Solutions, and they're going to talk about the SEIU Member Benefits Program. So take it away,
Great.
Scott.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see you again. My name is Scott Kish. I'm the director of SEIU Member Benefits. I oversee the operation and marketing and programs that we built. I've actually presented to this group before, and it's really great to be back and appreciate you giving us a little bit of time. So if it's okay, I'm going to share my screen for 1 second just to give a quick look at, again, our site and sort of point you to the directions. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to pass it over to Adrian. He's going to walk you through one of our newest benefits. So again, this is our website, SEIUMB, www.seiumb.com. It's where all of our benefits are offered. We have programs in the finance, insurance, discount, travel, and education space. We've been around for about 5 years and have learned a lot about SEIU members and the things that matter to you and your families. We're really pleased about the progress and always appreciate the chance to be able to talk with you all. Again, we're going to talk today, and I'll put a link in the chat when I'm done talking. I'm not going to try to do both, to the website and to the discount program. But if you want to take advantage of the program that Andrew's about to talk to you about, you can either navigate it from our homepage, which is this little box here on the left. You can click on this tab, discounts at the top, and our discount program is here. And when you click either of those links, it's going to take you to this product page, which is really our product page for our program with Adrian and the folks at EBG. You click here, we verify your membership. And once we know you're a member, you're then able to pass through to Adrian and make your bookings for all sorts of great stuff I'm going to let him talk about. So we're really excited about this program. We launched it. God, Adrian, what is it, about 7 or 8 months ago now, I guess? Is that sort of what
exactly. Yep.
Right.
Coming up to a year.
Yeah, and we've actually sold actually almost like 15,000 tickets for SEIU members, which is just amazing in that time. So I think members are really seeing the value. Yeah. In fact, one of my coworkers just took her family to Disney and saved, she said, thousands of dollars. She took like 14 people to Disney World and her parents paid. But she said she used the site to buy her Disney tickets, and it's great. And, not only can you take advantage of things like Disney, but it's movie tickets and local things as well. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to Adrian and let him sort of take over, share his screen. I'm going to watch the chat for any questions that pop up. And when Adrian's done, I do want to take a minute just to also offer if there are any questions about SEIU member benefits at all. We'll take those at the end as well. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those while I'm on the phone with you all today. So again, thank you for the time. We've got about 15 minutes, so this should go pretty quickly. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Adrian.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Adrian Bonev. I work for EBG Solutions, and we run and operate the member deal site that we'll see in this presentation. Thank you for inviting me to participate, and I'm really happy to be here. And hopefully this session gives you a good introduction of how the SEIU discount tickets program works. I don't know if any of you have ever had a chance to use it, but this will be kind of like an intro course. And then for those who have used it, you'll know it's very simple to use. So can you see my screen that I'm sharing? I believe
Yeah,
so.
we can.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll start off kind of where Scott left. Once you click in here on the discount tickets program and you log in with your credentials, you'll be brought over to the member deal site. So let me just move this here. So once you're here, you can start browsing all the different categories of offers. Along the top you'll see the main navigation menu, where we have all the different categories like theme parks and attractions, water parks, movie tickets, choose a city, shows and events, and preferred access. We try to, on the homepage, we try to highlight really what are the top offers right now. And always among those top offers, Walt Disney, Universal Orlando, right now with the NFL about to start, NFL tickets are here as well. So let's dive into each category a little bit more. So under the theme parks and attractions, you'll find all the top theme parks in Florida. So you'll see Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando, SeaWorld. You'll also find all the theme parks in the California market, like Disneyland, Universal Studios Hollywood. Both of them are there. And whenever you're going to these parks, any kind of savings can be huge, especially for a family of 4, a family of 5, even bigger group. And you'll be able to find savings for all sorts of purchases here. So if we go to Walt Disney World, I'll just quickly dive in. You can make your full selections here for how many days, how many people are going. Disney World tickets are all date-based. So anything you're doing here, you'll see the prices will automatically update based on the dates that you want to go. You can then make all your different selections for how many adults, kids, different packages if you want to add the water park, the park hopper. So we have a full integration with Disney, and our tickets, everything is a direct connection with Disney and with all the other parks we offer. So aside from those top parks, we also have all the local parks. For example, we have all the Six Flags nationwide. There's about 23 Six Flags parks in the United States, and we have deals for all of them. We also have some of the local Cedar Fair parks. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Michigan's Adventure, which is about a 2-hour drive from Lansing. And then we also have Cedar Point, which is a little bit further, but still within like that driving distance market. So here you can go in and purchase tickets to either of those parks. We have single day tickets. We have weekend only tickets as well. So
Everybody knows Cedar Point. Oh yeah.
do you guys prefer Cedar Point or Michigan's Adventure? I haven't been to either park yet, but
Depends on what you're going for. They're both great parks, I would say.
yeah. All right.
Michigan Adventure is more for little kids, and Cedar Point is more for bigger kids.
Okay. I see.
We've got a lot of Cedar Points. We've got a lot of Cedar Points popping up in the chat as well, Adrian. So
okay.
excellent.
Good to
Seriously,
know.
people drive from northern Michigan to go to that place. Like they don't care if it's 10 hours. It's
Oh my
that's
God.
awesome.
Okay, good to know. Okay, now I know why Cedar Point is probably one of the top selling of those Cedar Fair parks. Definitely. So we also under this category have attractions. So under attractions, you'll find all the zoos, aquariums, bus tours, different activities all over the country. We also have the city passes and the Go City passes, where if you're visiting a specific city, you can purchase one of these and have access to all those top attractions in that city for, a given time. And that everything is discounted. This is just a great way to see a city when you're visiting. I'll jump into this next category, the water parks. Here you'll find all the major water parks, like the Disney water parks, and also the local ones like the Schlitterbahns and all sorts of sizes. So, Rapids is a very small park in Florida. And then we also have like the large Disney parks. And we have the water park section live on the site through most of the summer. And then in the late fall, we'll transition that to ski resorts. And on ski resorts, again, we have all the big ski resorts on the East Coast and on the West Coast. And we even have some, a local one in Michigan, I think Crystal Mountain in Michigan. I looked that up. So not sure if you guys know that one, but that's another one we'll have live there. And I'll jump into movie tickets. So movies, they've been closed for a couple years, hasn't been a big product with COVID, but they are definitely coming back. And there's lots of blockbusters that are sure to be released later this year. So with the movie tickets discount, you know, that's something where you can go in and just buy one ticket, you know, to go see a movie. So, and we have different packages where you can buy, you know, different add-ons, a popcorn voucher, a drink voucher. They're all discounted, and you can just buy one product. So this is, if you're buying in Michigan, I would recommend, you know, with AMC purchasing this one, because it's lower cost. It's just not valid in these states where prices are much higher. So, and then we have, I didn't go into it, but we have all the major movie chains like Cinemark, Regal, and AMC. Let me see. So once you get to the Choose the Cities tab, it's basically everything that we just went over, but organized by city. So if you were happen to be going to Las Vegas, you could click there and just browse every show, every attraction that's happening in Las Vegas that we have discounted tickets on. So here you'll see all the different Cirque du Soleil shows, the magic shows, the comedy shows. Those are all listed, yes, under the Choose a City, but they're also listed in the shows and events page here. And I'll just jump right into shows and events. On shows and events, you know, we have all the Broadway shows, all the regular shows that are constantly reoccurring, all the major Las Vegas ones like we just talked about. And then we also have some more local shows. I was looking in Michigan, and we have this Sammy Hagar concert on August 23rd, and that's right outside of Detroit, I believe. And we have a savings of over 50% off on this show. So when you click into here, you know, you can see, so we have the general admission is 50% discounted. Now, let's say you didn't like those seats, those discounted seats, and you wanted to find something else, you can click over on this tab, and that brings you to our preferred access tickets marketplace. Now here you have availability to purchase all sorts of seats, and these are all resale tickets. So they're like secondary market tickets. And we have this category, preferred access, where everything is secondary market and resale. We have tickets to all the top concerts right now, like Elton John, Bad Bunny, Harry Styles. Those are really the top selling concerts in the country right now. We'll have, we have NFL tickets, everything you want to find in there. And the preferred access market is a little bit different. It's all resale inventory, similar to what you would find on StubHub. However, our prices are discounted because somebody like StubHub or the other resellers, they charge significant fees in the cart, and we just don't do that. So that's why, even though it's a resale ticket, you'll still have a discount and when you get to the final purchase. And I know this section is super popular now with the NFL season opening. So September 8th will start. We've already gotten a ton of interest here. So some of those NFL tickets are really hard to get. And so the only way is to buy it from the resale market. So same thing with these concerts. A lot of them tend to be sold out direct. So it's just a good option to buy things. And we have other things like Monster Jam and US Open. So just a variety to choose from. So I hope this was a good introduction to the site. If you ever have any questions or you know, you're in the middle of a purchase, you're not sure about a product, you can always reach out to our customer service team. They're available 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to, I believe, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. But you can also submit a form here and they will reply to you. They'll be able to walk you through either if it's an order you've already placed or you have questions about an order you want to place and you're just not sure, you can always reach out to them and they're very knowledgeable about the products. and everything. So yeah, I'll be happy to take some questions. Hopefully this was a helpful introduction.
Yeah, it definitely was. Adrian, thank you. So if there are any questions about this program specifically, we're happy to take them. If you have any other questions about SEIU member benefits overall, you can also sort of either raise your hand or type it into the chat, and I'm happy to answer them. You know, this is, we have presented to this group before. So in talking with the team, we really wanted to focus on this one benefit. But, you know, we have lots of other programs that we offer to members, from our life programs to, again, our credit card programs and things that really are designed for SEIU members specifically. The nice thing about this program especially is it's really only available through partnerships. So, you know, Adrian, his things is his program is not available to anyone off the street. There was a member, entertainment benefits group is what that stands for. So I'll be able to answer that. As I was mentioning, you know, this is not something that's available to anyone. So, you know, EBG works through large employers and through large associations like ours to bring this program to life. So this is really an added benefit of being a part of the SEIU family. So again, if there are any other questions about the program, we're happy to do that. I know we were a little bit out of order, so hopefully we kept you all on track today. And look forward to having another chance to present to you guys next time you all get together and talk about maybe something else down the road. But Adrian, we've never presented before, so I appreciate you taking the time today to sort of go through and do this with us. This is actually our first SEIU local presentation with EBG, so we really do appreciate the time. And again, hopefully you guys see the value there. Again, it's been a great benefit. I know certainly Top Gun has been a huge boon to our program. I'm sure we sold lots of Top Gun tickets because I know a lot of folks have gone to see that, including me, my first time back in movie theater in a couple of years. And I use the program to buy my own tickets. So again, I think it's a really great benefit. And again, it's not only those big ticket Disney things, but things you want to do in your town. And again, everything, you know, even as simple as movies or a tour or a show. So I guess without further ado, we'll stop and hand it back to David and team to let you guys keep going.
Thank you.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Great. So would you like, we'll log off now? Would you like us to log off, David?
Yeah, you can. And if there's
Okay.
any other questions, I can forward them to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having
me. You know where to find me.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
Have a
guys.
nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So we actually are going to go back to Jeremy, who's going to talk about the expungement fair.
Can we stop the share screen? And we'll go back to the gallery view.
There we go.
There we go. Hey, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to speak a little on this expungement fair. I want to just apologize. We had originally hoped to have somebody from the Attorney General's office here, but I do want to have this conversation. We knew that there was a possibility that they may not be able to join us. I know they had said that both the Attorney General and some of her staff would be in a space today where they didn't think they would have internet access. So it looks like that ended up being the case. So what I wanted to talk to you a little bit is about a program that the Attorney General has been spearheading on expungements. And so basically, to give you a broad overview, and we can follow up with some additional information, is the Attorney General's office, after recent passage of laws in the Michigan House of Representatives that was then passed in the Senate and signed by the governor, changed the way that certain criminal convictions could be looked at, especially when it comes to expungements. So whether that be, violations to the motor vehicle code or others, certain convictions that were made for folks are now subject to the ability to be expunged. So according to the Attorney General's office, in a meeting that we had with her, there are hundreds of thousands of cases that are eligible for expungement. And so what the Attorney General is doing is she's working with unions like ours to have a conversation with our members in which they have an opportunity to reach out, speak with one of their staffers. They're able to work with the court system to see what convictions you may have, which ones are eligible for expungement. What they do is they then build a docket, and then they work with the union to have regional expungement fairs. And so how that works is you've already talked to them, they determine what is eligible. you come to this particular fair where they have the docket ready for you. They're able to look through your stuff, talk with you, say, this is what's eligible, here's the court, this is how we do it, and give you all the proper paperwork to move forward. Normally, some of that carries with it a fee, but according to the conversations we had, those fees are waived by doing it through the Attorney General's office. And so that's something that as a local, we're going to be exploring. So over the next couple months, we're going to work with the Attorney General to figure out where best and when to have these expungement fairs. So we can work, what they've said is they don't want to just do it statewide, because when they have to have a large number of people and work with a particular court, it's easier to centralize it in a particular area. So whether we do it in Detroit, Saginaw, Flint, West Michigan, wherever it is, we'll work with them to be able to get the information to the members in that area, figure out the times in which folks will be able to reach out, find out what actually can be expunged, and then move through that process. So I might not have all of the answers to any questions you may have, because like I said, we had hoped that the Attorney General's office would be here to speak about it. But that is something that we're looking at, and we would welcome, our members and any family members that they may have to try to take advantage of this, because those changes in laws are a big deal. It can help people on a lot of things, whether that be on driving records or other criminal records that are now eligible for expungement. And one of the main things that they had talked to us about is because of these changes in laws, folks who, for instance, may have lost their driver's license and thought there was never an opportunity for them to get it back, that there's now an opportunity to do that. So even if you went or had a family member just a few years ago where that wasn't an option, these changes to the law could potentially lead to them getting their license back. So I would hope that everyone would want to take advantage of a program like this. It's something that the legislature and governor felt strongly about when they moved it. And now we want to actually put it into practice, and hopefully our members can take advantage of that. Let's see, are there any questions? I can try to field, but what we'll do is we'll get more information. We'll follow up with the Attorney General's office, and then what we'll do is just look for your email, whether that be through your regional boards or your leaders in the workplace. We'll try to get that information out, because it's probably will be done regionally because the way the program is set up. And then we'll get you all the information so you can take advantage of it. Back to you, Dave.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. All right, so our next point, new member tools and technological updates. This one is actually a video presentation that we have received, and I'm going to play from our vendor, and he will describe the new website.
Dave, before you press play, I do want to just point out one thing. So for those who are new and those who have been here, one of the main things that we heard back from our members was how do we, update ourselves online? We had a website that was made quite a while ago that we had done through our international, and it didn't quite give off the feeling or vibe of our vibrant membership. So we took that feedback in conjunction with some of our leaders and members, and we tried to put together a very purposeful website that took the member experience into consideration. So this video that you're going to see is kind of the journey of how we got there, and then what you can expect to see from 517M moving forward. So if you have not been on our website, I encourage you to go there. There's a lot of information for members, whether that be your contract or the member benefits that we just saw in the last presentation, or overall anything that might be contractual that you're interested in, or what the union's doing overall. That is all housed on our website. But right now we felt it was a little too confusing sometimes for folks, or the way that it was laid out. And so this new website is our opportunity to make sure that it's very clear of who we are as a labor union, and then make it something that our members actually use as utilize as a resource for them. So that's why we're showing you. I take it, there we go. You got it, Dave?
No sound there, Dave.
but it wasn't playing sound.
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's try this version. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Leeds. I'm Chief Creative Officer for Message Makers, and I wish I could be there with you live. My apologies that I'm not, but I am excited to share a little bit of the work we've been doing with SEIU 517M on the renewed website over the past little bit less than a year at this point. This project started with a charge from Jeremy to really kind of step back and evaluate what was going on with the website and how it could be better. We knew that the design was a little bit dated based on a template from the International. The user experience, really the things that you would do on the website were fragmented. It wasn't easy to get around. And the communicated values of the site, really sort of the messaging of the site was unclear and uneven. And all that together meant that the website wasn't doing everything that it could do for the union, that it was weakening the potential impact on mission and identity and a lot of the really functional activities that the members need the website to do. So our charge from Jeremy was to renew the website, to create something that helped members to better understand and utilize and engage with the value afforded by a thriving union, and really to clarify and amplify and just bring to life on the web all the different ways in which the SEIU 517M community is energized and growing and advocating for the membership. So like I said, we started with a very strategic process, going through a lot of conversations about goal setting and drawing an inspiration from different places, mapping, some of the functional needs that the different sets of users of the website might have, recognizing that, what I do as a state employee and what you do as a local government employee or a school employee might be similar in function, but we might use different forms. We might have different mechanisms for doing that, but we're all part of this thing together. So how do we draw that all together? In our development process, we used what's called a user experience model, really starting with sort of that base strategy and then building up from there to the scope and structure of the website, starting to look at what we would call really a sitemap. So this is what we would call a sitemap for the website. This came out of a lot of strategic conversations, and this was really kind of the foundational structure. This right here is a flow chart. Doesn't give you a whole lot of emotion or even specific message, but this was really kind of one of the first realizations of kind of what the site would look like. And you can see some of the messaging starting to play out in those headers for the top navigation as represented by that bottom orange row. Our purpose, your membership, get engaged, contact, very kind of action-oriented language that would help people to find what they need to do while communicating that this really is your website as a member, and these are the places you go to do things, as a part of the union. And so, again, recognizing that something like managing membership is different for a state of Michigan employee, for a school employee, for a local government employee, we identified some key functions that all these different kinds of users would need to be able to fulfill. And it was things like to build a foundational understanding of the union, to understand the non-contract benefits of membership, to be able to join and pay membership dues, to be able to reauthorize, to be able to access contracts, to be able to access other channels like newsletters and social media and event registration, and really to engage. And to feel yourself as a part of all of this as you're doing it, to see that this is a union that really does represent all of us as different types of public employees, and to be very authentic in that representation. So as a project like this progresses, we start to shift from these sort of like high-level structural strategic conversations into some more design-oriented conversations. And we go through a process called wireframing you can see here, this is an example of what a wireframe looks like as we start to kind of build out the front page of the website. The focus is very much on structure as opposed to design. This isn't at all what the finished website looks like. We're really trying to have some conversations about what should go where and how the content should flow as we're still designing and writing. Then once we have that structure in place, we're really designing toward it. One of the major design pieces of the new site is, of course, the SEIU brand identity, and specifically the SEIU 517M brand identity. So I don't know how widely this has been shared, but you're going to see it on the site in just a second. So my apologies, Jeremy, if this is a reveal, but we're very excited that we had a chance to do just kind of a little redesign on the logo as a part of this, and this will be a part of the SEIU 517M graphic identity moving forward. Really what this was an exercise in cleanup and creating just a stronger overall shape for the logo while keeping the same sort of major elements, the state of Michigan outline, the color purple, the tagline of public employees as an identity. But then what we did is we built that out as a full set of logo collateral that could be used in a range of different circumstances and printing formats where we can have maybe lots of colors or maybe just one color, and that can be used in lots of different ways over time by SEIU, all for the sake of communicating, a strong brand identity. Of course, the major context with which we in this sort of strategic web redesign project are concerned with the use of the logo is the website itself. So while the site is still in what we call development, we're pulling together some last bits of content. We're going through some of the interactive programming and getting it all ready. There is a prototype site that's up and running on the development server. And what I'd like to do today is just exclusively for this audience, give a real quick preview of what that's starting to look and feel like. All right, so without too much further ado, this is the development website. This is not final. You'll see some placeholder content and some things that aren't fully implemented throughout. But I'll kind of talk you through what's here, and in a few places, what as needed, what's missing. But I think you'll get a pretty good sense of kind of where we're going with this. So up at the top here, we have a news bulletin banner. Here just kind of placeholdered with a March date, but the intent with this is to have a place where we can let members know what's going on right now and then provide an opportunity to click and take action directly on it. So, the site can be a very kind of current communication tool for things as they develop. Then down below that, we get into what we call our top navigation. So here we have that updated logo sitting over top of this purple bar. We have a little bit of what our web developer calls a shower door effect with that sort of frosted glass diffusion of the video underneath. The top navigation, our purpose, your membership, get engaged, contact, hopefully very clear, with this logo linking back to the home page. And no drop-down menus, very simple page structure so that hopefully we don't confuse folks and everyone can get very quickly to where they need to be for different function. Moving down the page, we have a banner video. What we like about something like this is it gives us an opportunity to show the world of the union very early on and in a very dynamic way, much more kind of image first, so that, others who come here start to get a sense of the connection to Michigan, but also the many different types of work that SEIU 517 members are engaged in. And then a very clear mission statement, which we currently have as Our Union, Our Michigan, and an opportunity to click and learn more. Or many people will then take that and scroll down the page if this is your first time on the page. For a lot of people, this is the introduction. We have a little bit of sort of a unifying statement and then some animated infographics. I don't know if it happened for sure as I came down the page here, but these numbers build on talking about the impact. We think it's important to quantify and qualify what's happening with the union and why it matters. So these three boxes are trying to do that from three different dimensions. Talk about the membership that's connected through the union across counties, serving 7,000 plus members. And then growth in salary really sort of pointing at what are the things that the union has done. Again, with a lot of this text, this is not published final yet. This will give you a sense of the kinds of things that will be here as we're communicating kind of the final messages of sort of the foundational identity of SEIU 517M, as a lot of people encounter it for the first time. We know, though, a lot of users of the website will be returning visitors, and we think it's really important that the site have fresh content that's updated on a regular basis. So a big part of what we've been talking about is storytelling. I hope that this first banner area feels a little bit like the cover of a magazine. And if that's the case, then this is where we kind of get into the feature stories. And so each one of these links to an article. The intent is for these articles to over time and as a set represent the incredible diversity of the union membership, and tell stories about the ways in which the union is serving the members, but also the members are serving their communities, and we're all kind of coming together as public employees as 517M. Scrolling down a little bit further, again, keeping the site fresh with current events. These are all obviously placeholders, but the intent is for right on the front page for people to see the kinds of activities that they can be involved in as a part of the union, and then be able to link out to get more. Throughout the site, you'll see we have a mix of real photography as it currently exists, a little bit of stock photography, but the intent is really always to be showing kind of the authentic face of the union membership. This section here right now is placeholder, but really as we get toward the front of this first page, what we're doing is for people who are still scrolling, for people who are still trying to understand the role of a union like SEIU 517M, this is another set of infographics very similar to what we have at the top of the page. These really speak specifically to union wins, kind of what is the union doing today? What are some of the major accomplishments related to specifically negotiating, organizing, and engaging and driving results? So those will come together with some infographic statistics down here. Another call to action to join or renew, which would take us to the membership management functionality. And then consistent across the entire site, a contact form, really kind of inviting engagement for anyone who's a member or a non-member thinking of joining. And this will go right into someone who's able to get back and have a conversation as a part of that outreach. And then this footer. So again, if you've scrolled all the way down to the bottom of this page, we'll make sure that you have that top navigation resurfaced so you can get back to somewhere else if you haven't found it on this page, as well as links to social channels and what will become again, a statement of purpose for the union, just to reinforce that. As we go a little bit deeper into the site, and I'll move a little bit quicker on some of these interior pages, on our purpose, you start to see some, you think about this almost as an about us page, but with a little bit more of a mission focus. Member perspectives on why membership matters, some very direct articulation of the SEIU Local 517M mission, some background on kind of the scope of the union and the union structure, a little bit of union history just to sort of help people understand how we got to today. And then names and faces for the union leadership and staff so that the members can hopefully find people they're looking for. And if I'm calling or if I'm trying to track someone down because of a specific need and I know who's going to help me, or I'm trying to understand who the union leadership is, then everyone's listed here so that we can get in touch and have a conversation. Again, that contact form at the bottom of this page. This is the Your Membership page. The major function of this page is to manage your membership. As we've been discussing, it's a little bit challenging because we have three major different types of union members, and union membership management activities might be similar, but the way they happen is different across these three different types. If I need to pay my dues, that's going to happen differently with a different form as a school employee, as opposed to maybe going through the HR self-service portal as a state of Michigan employee. As a state of Michigan employee, I might need to reauthorize. As a school employee, I do not. So to really kind of give people a chance to see how to do things for their membership type and to focus it down in a very sort of specific way and not confuse folks too much, hopefully, with options that don't apply, was what we're trying to do here. So as this gets fully built out, what you'll see is branching logic where a user first comes to this part of the website and identifies themselves as a school employee, say, and then is presented with a list of activities relevant to their membership as a school employee. So that might be to join, to renew, to manage dues payment, all those kinds of things. And then clicking on one of these buttons will take you to the specific form or tool that you need to use in order to complete that activity. Over here on the Get Engaged part of the website, this is really kind of a second tier call for action. So, you know, we want people to understand the purpose of the union. We want people to be members and be able to manage their membership. But then moving on from that, we want people to be engaged and to understand that this is our union, and to be able to access events, to have activities that can draw you in to be more involved, to participate in the Committee on Political Action, and to share your story. We'll have functionality linked from here where members can go and record a quick video to talk about union membership or talk about issues that matter to them. That'll be a direct line into you know, union leadership to receive those messages, and then potentially to relay those out into storytelling as a part of other communications on behalf of the union. So again, more ways to keep us all connected. And then last but not least, the contact page. The contact page is intended to, again, make it easy to get in touch, to create opportunities for engagement. So, you know, very, very functional, you know, photos of the offices, which are currently placeholdered, address information, contact information for all the different places that I might need to reach out to as a member. And then, of course, this contact form down at the end. So I hope that gives you a quick sense and maybe a little bit of a sense of excitement for where the new site is going. This is always kind of interesting to try to share, you know, close to a year's worth of work in 15 minutes. But I hope you appreciate how much work has gone in from the SEIU staff and leadership perspective to really try to create something that's going to be a valuable resource for the membership moving forward. I am happy to answer any questions. Obviously, I can't do that live here, but any questions that you want to submit, or also any feedback, you know, as you're looking through all this, if you have anything that's caught your eye or anything that feels like an especially good fit and you just want to make sure it doesn't get lost in translation as we get into the final version of this site, please feel free to pass me a message through Jeremy or Dave or Olivia, and I'll be very happy to take your comments and get in touch if a follow-up conversation is helpful. Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of your meeting.
All right, so that's the sneak peek of the new webpage. If anybody has any questions for Tom, they can put it in the chat there and we can forward them on to him. So right now, we are going to go over to our keynote speaker, President Joey Combs, talking about membership matters and building a strong union.
We do have a question in the chat. And it's, when is it launching? I think that was the only one. The website.
So we hope to have it launched the first week of next month, which is very soon, which is next week.
Well,
All right, you're up.
I'm up. Okay. Oh, we still got 30 people. Thank you all for staying, being here. I went back and forth about how to approach talking about why membership matters. I'm going to start in our.
Working from home matters.
She hasn't barked all day. Majesty. Come on now.
You want me to speak?
Majesty. Come on up here. You can watch the movie. I mean, watch. There we go. Okay. Dog with us. Give me 1 second, everyone. I can give her to her mother.
All right.
Well, while Joey does that, can I just ask, are there any reactions to what you just saw, especially for those who've used our website before. And if you do, just throw your hand up in the chat, and we'll go ahead and give you a chance to share. I also want to just point out too that, so, you know, the reason we've been doing all of this work is to portray the professionalism and the importance of public employees. And we want to make sure that that shines through in every aspect of what we do. And whether that be through our organization, our online presence, website, at the bargaining table, or overall in the state of Michigan, we want to make sure that that professionalism is always seen by others. So that's part of why we're doing what we're doing. You good, Joey?
Yes, I gave her to her mother. Thank you. Somebody in the chat said it wouldn't be a live meeting without a dog barking. That is the truth. She hasn't barked all morning. This is our second meeting. So what is a labor union and why does it matter? In our new employee books, that's the question that's asked. And it says a labor union is a group of workers who join together to fight for fair and equitable wages, advocate for improvement in rights in the workplace, and ensure proper safety standards and benefits are afforded to all workers. By acting collectively, workers have a more powerful voice when approaching their employer about the changes they want and have the leverage and standing to be listened to and taken seriously. And I've tossed around quite a few nights trying to figure out what actually to say. I think this is the first time I don't actually have something written and scripted because it's been a struggle for me. And it's personally been a struggle for me because we're being attacked from every which way. And I guess ultimately we can read that, but I can go through the journey of why being a member really matters to me. It goes back to something that happened last week, and Jeremy kind of gave me a pen like, you should talk about that. So I am president of the local. I am 43 years old. And being president was never my goal, ever whatsoever at all. Things happen and you end up where you end up, right, in your journey. But for me, when I started with the state, I was 22. I was a senior at Michigan State. I started as a student assistant. I walked into 7310 Woodward Avenue. My anniversary was last week. My anniversary was January 23rd. So I have 21 years since I started at the state of Michigan. About 6 weeks later, 9/11 happened. Chaos ensued in this world. When I go on to graduate from Michigan State, December of 2002, like literally not a soul was hiring but the unemployment agency, right? Remember, the airlines were shut down. Everybody was collecting unemployment who didn't have a job, unless I think public sector was the least impacted because that's when people needed the most services after 9/11 happened. And as Michigan was entering its decade-long recession. So I graduate, I come over to the unemployment agency in February 2003. So besides the job I had at Farmer Jack, which I was in the union, I've never had another union job until coming to the unemployment agency. And I started understanding very early why being in the union was important. People don't realize when the big three were offering buyouts back then. At the state of Michigan, some of you on this call remember when we had to take bank leave time. Remember we had to work 80 hours of pay period and give back 8 to the state under the Granholm administration because the Engler administration didn't leave everything the greatest. And it was at that point, my daughter who just graduated high school, she was a baby. So imagine being a young mom and you have 8 hours of your pay taken away. The only plus side to that was we were doing some overtime because the economy was just in shambles. And I know for our particular contract, it took us like 2 or 3 votes before we actually started the bank leave time the first time. So this is my first introduction into the union. Like, we didn't start when everyone else started in our contract. And then as we were transitioning from, so that was 2004 or 5-ish. I forgot how long we did bank leave time, but it was a while. It was a couple of years. And as we transitioned, getting to the end of the Granholm administration, we ended up, they thought it was a contract extension, but actually it just ended up being a 1-year contract because everybody thought that Mark Schauer was going to win and be governor, and we just continue under another Democratic administration. Well, Mark Schauer didn't win. Rick Snyder did. And this is when I really learned the importance of the union. And I also learned the importance of why the union needs to be in politics. We are a public sector local. A majority of us, well, half of us work for the state. So that means that the Constitution has given the Civil Service Commission the power over us. They ultimately make the decisions. The legislature impacts all of us as public sector because of the laws they pass, and the governor impacts us because of the bill she signs from the legislature. Then when you get to our school division, it's important because school boards are elected as well, and that make decisions about our lives. And then when you get to local governments, it's important because city councils or county commissions are making decisions about our lives. And what I learned was that, as the Granholm administration was ending and we were coming into the Snyder administration, you start to learn how when you don't have friends sitting in places, how it really begins to impact you. And that's where the decade-long attack, and honestly, we're still being attacked. It may not be happening at the pen in the governor's office per se, but it's still happening to us. We are living with, if you think about it, we became right to work in 2012. That didn't really work the way they wanted it to. So this reauthorization thing it started in 2020. We're on our 3rd reauthorization, and it just started in 2020. That's impacting our membership and our numbers. That they say you have to say you want to stay in your union. There's constantly being bills and laws passed that continuously attack us, and it's diminishing what we can do. Like that banner showed that it said our union, our mission, right? So I did write some notes when we were looking at the presentation. So this isn't Joey's union. This isn't Jeremy's union. This isn't your leader's union. This is all of our union. And we are honestly, the reason the conversation has been hard for me to come up with is because I'm usually the happy, bubbly one. And our reality is we are on the brink of losing our unions as state employees in Michigan. Our unions we've been unionized, 41 years is our anniversary this year. And we got to start having people pay dues or step up, or everything that we have in those contracts, it will be gone. And as I go through this journey, I learn every day why the union is important. You get your due process with the union. That's not something you get when you don't have a union, an employer, well, at least in Michigan, because we're, it escapes me. Somebody help me from unemployment. We're at will.
At will. So
an employer can just let you go if they wanted to when you don't have a union in your place. So I do want to ask a couple of you, why?
Before you do, you have a politic question that I know you can answer.
Okay. Yes, the question is, does 517M have the ability to endorse in these local elections like school board and county commission races, township and city? Yes, we do. But we also need people to step up and be active in our COPE committee and actually be on the screening committees, because like 5 people can't be everywhere all the time because we have members in all 83 counties. So we need more people to step up and be willing to help with the work to actually endorse in these areas. For me, I wouldn't want to go sit at a school board or a county commission screening if I could have a member who actually lives in the area who it impacts personally, because all politics is local, and that's the most local you're gonna get is city and county politics. Anyone else? Yep, someone just said that happened to me at will before I was hired here. They lost that one. Yep. So it's real out there. But what I was going to ask before I continue on, anybody out there want to talk about why membership matters to them in the union? Do I have to unmute them, Dave?
I do.
Okay, I'll take 3 people, but go ahead.
Tawana, this is Tawana Rogers. I work at Cadillac Place as an analyst for unemployment. And I joined the union because I believe that this I now know that this employer will take advantage of our members whenever they can, whenever they just don't know where to go. Most people come from private sector, so they don't know that part about they got rights and things that someone can do. So it was very important. I've been working here for 20 years also, and I know for a fact that Joey, Janice, and Roland are the best advocates for us because they do an awesome job, even though members around the office, like, they can't see it, and people are visual, and with us being out of the office, they really don't know what's going on. But it's just been great, and I really believe in the union. Plus, I just saw those member benefits, and I'm a sucker for sales, so I don't think the union dues is a problem, but you see the trickery when they said you have to tell them that you want to always be a member to the union. That's trickery to me. And I'm glad I'm a part of SEIU 517M. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll volunteer.
Oh, hey, Jason.
Hey, my name is Jason Jackson. I am a state employee with the technical unit. I started my employment with the state of Michigan in 2014. And for 14 years before that, I worked in the private sector doing the same type of work, bounced around from company to company. One of the things that I appreciated about the union was the contract. In every company I worked with before I came to the state, the manager that I was working under decided how they were going to do things, and I didn't agree with a lot of the decisions they made. I even had some companies who told me how anti-union they were before I started working. They didn't have a union, but they did not want to be involved in any way, shape, or form with any entity coming in telling them what they could or could not do with their employees. What I appreciated was the contract, having a document that laid out what would happen in certain situations. I knew that I wouldn't just be moved all the way across the state at the drop of a hat because they have some work over there, which was one of the things that really pushed me towards state employment. That security and knowing that there were things that could not happen because the contract would not allow it to happen. And then when I looked around, the active members in the union were all nearing retirement, or at least the majority of them were. And I recognized the fact that if more of the newer employees, more of the younger employees weren't going to step up and fill those roles, then it didn't matter what the contract said. If we didn't have people actively working to protect it, then we wouldn't continue to have it. So that was one of the reasons I decided that it was important for me to get involved and also to encourage others to do the same.
Thank you, Jason. Someone does have their hand up, but you made me, you made me realize why I started my journey. I didn't even think about that part. I've been on every bargaining team since 2011 because I realized that the people at the union were older and on the pension system, and we were younger on the 401k, and the things that necessarily impact older coworkers were not necessarily the thing that impacted us as younger coworkers. So we have Nadir had his hand up.
Hi, my name is Nadir Jadala. I work out of Cadillac Place. I've been a union since '99,
Okay.
and membership does matter to me because from my experience, I did survive. You know, my job was saved numerous times. I remember the biggest one was back in 2015. There was a lot of reorganization going on. I work for gaming, and this is my first, yeah. So the team or the executive team, they had plans and they had organization changes. And one of the people that got impacted is my manager, my old manager. And he is not a union member, but the rest of the team back then were union members. And, you know, they went after him and he lost his job. They start, you know, labeling him and accusing him of different things. And back then, even though I had so many years of membership with the union, I did appreciate it, you know, after appreciating what God had for us. I knew exactly what it means to be a union member because for the fact he lost his job and they tried to come after me and the rest of the team. And, you know, both of my other coworkers were union members, SEIU 517. So they weren't able to do anything. So that saved my job. You know, it's not just my job. I have a family and so forth. The other one was about a couple months ago. I get a call. I was working from home and my manager, he is a newly hired manager. It's been a year. He calls and he says, cut the background behind you. I said, okay, I'll cut. Yeah, I'm okay. Go ahead. And I knew it was coming. He was like, you know, this is a verbal warning. And I'm like, a verbal warning for what? He said, you know, you're not doing your job as you need to. And I'm like, hold on, you're the new guy who's being the manager and I've been doing the job for 23 years. And you're telling me you're not doing the job. I said, okay, I'm listening. He said, yeah, you're not doing this. You're not. I said, listen, these things that you're telling me about are not related to me. It's related to the agency, related to the database systems, related to the way the agency is structured. So don't come and tell me basically these are my faults. And I said, you know what? You're telling me this is a verbal warning. What's next? And I know I've been a union member for that long and I know what's coming next. And I said, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm gonna talk to my union. Even this is a verb. The minute I told him I'm gonna contact my union, I felt the stirrer. He started stirring. He's like, yeah, do whatever you want to do, but you know, I just want to give you a verbal warning. And you know, I went to the executive director the next week and I talked to him. And basically he said, Nader, don't worry about it. It's not gonna go anywhere. But he was at the same time trying to put a beautiful face to my management and to the people that report to him. And you know, that second time I did appreciate it big time because imagine if I didn't have a union, if I was a regular NERI with the state, it would have been out of the door the next day. So union membership do matter to me. And, you know, it's something that we need to build on and work hard, whether it's for the examples I gave or other things that like political membership and so forth. Because, you know, everything matters. I mean, a voice maybe doesn't matter if we think, but it does matter, whether it's a voice by itself or as a group. So I just want to share with you guys these experiences.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for coming. Because you said this is your first meeting, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a union, but you know, it fall on a Saturday. This is good to do it via Zoom.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You said, hold on, I wasn't paying. You said somebody text me. We have one more. Was it a text or?
Brian K has a hand up.
Yep.
Okay, it's his hand up, Brian, and he will be our last one.
Okay, can you guys hear me or no?
Yes.
How are you? Okay, can you, okay. Wait a minute, I don't, okay, this is what happens with computers. But anyway, I just wanted to say, don't laugh at me too much, Joy. I just want to say in reference to why membership mattered, mine's is short and is just really as far as short and sweet. Because the ones who have spoke already, it all comes to a common theme. And that's really just having a voice. And because having no voice is going to get, it's not going to get you anywhere. You know, no story is told in silence, you know, and you know, and having as far as, and having a voice, because I've heard people have mentioned that when they went to other employers or worked for other employers, they just ran and did whatever that as far as what they wanted to do and all that. But then when they know they have as far as having that union or having an advocate, you know, because I think one of the persons have said that they said, well, we're not going to have the union as far as take over or anything, take over us or as far as tell us what to do or take over our business and stuff like that. No, that is not the point or anything like that. To me, that's people, as far as I think it's what we have to do in reference to this, as far as, like I said, as far as the membership matter, is also we have to have, what is our message? You know, just like any commercial. You know, if you think of your commercials or whatever, they all have as far as one match, you know, as far as one message and all that. And that's how you remember. And I think with us having that message, and then having that message collectively and that voice. And to me, I think that's why, to me, as far as membership matter, because the gentleman I think who had spoke before me, he said he had, I think, 23 years. He had a lot of time in it. And Joy been there. Don't let Joy fool you. She been there since Michigan became a state. She looks good for her age. I know. Okay. Anyway, I happen to be, let me see, next month will only be my 4th year as far as as far as a state employee, and I work in Grand Rapids, so I don't get I don't get like you guys, you Detroiters and all that, even though I am a Detroiter and all that, so I perfectly understand. So I just want to let you guys know that, you know, even on the other side of the state, you know, there's some things that, as far as that's going on, and that we as union members can become as far as active and involved. And I'll shut up. But thank you.
Nope. Thank you for sharing. Honestly, for the last 3 months, for the last 3 months, I have really been struggling, especially with things that have been hitting us legislatively, and I've just been struggling. So y'all are really actually giving me encouragement, because I'm usually the happy, upbeat one. So this is really helping me today. And I have to renege. I got to call on one more person because I want to hear from Leticia and Michelle.
I don't have to talk if you don't want me to.
No, you go ahead. Nope, I want to hear. No, because now that they're reporting, we may ask some of y'all, can we get a sign off to use some of y'all statements for testimonials? This is good.
Oh, do you want me to go?
Yeah, you can go. You can go, and then Leticia can round us out.
So I'm president of the Scientists and Engineers. I'm in a very unstable network, so I'm going to keep my camera off so you can hear me better, or long enough before it knocks me off. I've been with the union, or I've been employed by the state since 2003. In 2007, I was laid off, which was very, very disheartening to me. So that was during trying times. We had already gone through the whole, what Joey was mentioning about, what's it called? When
bank leave time, BLT.
Time, everything. So I had to cash my bank leave time out when I left because I needed money to make ends meet during my layoff time. I got hired back in 5.5 months only because of the union. So at 6 months, I would have been like put out to pasture, so to speak. And I remember the president of the scientists and engineers at that time, Ann Mapes,
I remember her.
she fought for my job and she said, you have to take her. I found out just last year that they offered the job that I have to somebody else. And because the union fought and said, you have to take her back, they had to take me. I had to drive an hour and 45 minutes one way to my workstation, where I picked up my state car, and I was a food inspector. And so I did that for a year until a job closer to home opened up. But it was because of the union that I was able to get back to work. I'll have one more thing that I wanted to say as to why I'm still in the union and I'm involved. Anne made me promise that I would become more involved, and I did. And I tell you what, it's been a journey, a good journey. But the other reason, and I challenge everybody, if you ever get an opportunity to be on a bargaining team, if you're ever on the fence about why unions are important, you need to get on the bargaining team and see what the state or what the school or what the local government will do to you if you don't have a union. I mean, the stuff that they offer and the things that they say, it's incredible. And the things you hear behind the scenes. So I challenge everybody to get more involved. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, whoever's in our union, get them more involved and really recruit. Get out there and recruit and tell them why the union is important. It's so important.
Amen.
That's my 19 years of strife, and why I'm so happy to be in this union. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. I didn't know all of that. I just learned something today. And before you go, Leticia, Michelle brings up a great point about bargaining. We take absolutely everything our members say in the bargaining survey to the table. That does not mean it's successful at the table. And if somebody ever wants to see what happens at the table, our bargaining books are always available, so you can come look at the proposals that were passed back and forth. Just because it ended up on the survey and we pass it does not mean it's going to end up in the contract. And we can pass it multiple times and it's still not go. You ready, Leticia?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. So I work for the city of Saginaw. I work in community development. I've worked for the city of Saginaw and worked in my union very actively since I became a union member, before Michigan was even a state, because I heard that Joey worked that long. So that makes me even more ancient than Joey. And I will say I come from a unit that we have about 98% dues paying membership. And I will say from the unit that I come from, I was the president of that unit for many terms, and I just stepped away from that position. And part of that, I had anxiety about my membership dropping, because people were like, you have to stay in your position and, that's why we're here. I'm not the magic, guys. We're the magic. So that's kind of my message for my people in my unit, and in even my region, being the divisional vice president for Region 1. We're the magic. We lock together and we are committed. It's not about COPE. It's not about your favorite political figure. And if our international union decides we're going to throw our money behind this president, it's not about any of that, guys. It's about us having an agenda to protect a living wage and benefits for our membership, for each other, for our local. Whether you're a state person, you're a school and local government person, doesn't matter. And so that's kind of the focus that I've had, having to step away from the presidential position for the unit. I've just kind of said, guys, I'm not the magic. You don't need Leticia's face standing at the podium for you guys to continue to pay dues. Has that worked 100%? Not really, but there are people that are just set in their ways and they're like, I lost my green. I mean, now with Right to Work, we can lose our membership over any little thing. They might not like the color purple. And that's really where we're at. So I just kind of tell them to stay focused on what matters. You know, you came to the city of Saginaw. This job, the benefits package, the salary was sexy to you, and that was because your union, this union, negotiated that wage for that position. And we negotiated that benefits package for that position. So if I can keep people focused on the importance of collective bargaining, because, you know, you can be a great employee and you can have all these stellar certifications and degrees, and the city, the collective bargaining agreement gets you your benefits package and your salary, right? Not all of those pieces of paper and your clever, you know, all your wisdom. That's not what brings, because trust me, there are people in our organization that I wonder how they got to where they got. Honestly, when I have department heads coming to me saying I've got employees, to this day, I have department heads and directors coming to me telling me I have problems with this employee and I don't want to have to bring the union in, Leticia, but what can we do? I'm not even in a position to do that anymore, but I do it because I want that member to know that I got your back as my union brother or my union sister. It has nothing to do with what position I hold. It has to do with, you know, them seeing value in the union and however they can do it. So even if you're not in a leadership position, you are an example, and you are there. You have to support everyone. So I think that's why our numbers stay the way they are. I also let them know that if our numbers drop, that will affect your collective bargaining too. Your Blue Cross Blue Shield that you know, you've got a sick child or a child that's, you know, needs allergy specialist or ENT, whatever it is, all those benefits packages are collectively bargained for. And the city would love to have we hold them back from upping, you know, our cost, and we do the best we can. That's collectively bargained. If you're going to go in there and bargain for yourself, the city would love that. And they actually do a good job of letting people know, oh, well, what does your union do for you? When you pay that $20 copay, your union did that for you. When you go into the doctor and they have to remove a mole while you're in the doctor's office and you still pay $20 for that, your union did that for you. We fight it every day. And I think that's why our membership has, I mean, we used to get in political, I mean, people would love to say, oh, I'm not doing that because SEIU, you know, they backed, Hillary Clinton. I remember that one. That's a good one. They backed Hillary Clinton and I don't like Hillary Clinton and blah, blah, blah. Okay, what? Is Hillary paying your bills? Is Hillary coming in and sitting at that bargaining table and bargaining for you? No. Hillary's gonna eat regardless if you pay COPE, if you pay your dues. So I just want people to stay focused on, we're fighting for the working man and the working woman. We're fighting for a living wage so that everyone can enjoy vacations, Brian, and relax at the end of their work week. You know what I'm saying? Have a little beverage here or there. We're fighting for that. We are fighting for that. And you're fighting for that too. So that's just my little part.
Nope, you just went through why solidarity is important and the 36 reasons to thank the union.
All right.
And the thing I want to add is, and I've trained it at annual meetings before, we have to remember why state employees have a civil service commission and a civil service system, because prior to the ballot proposal of 1940 or 42, it was the spoil system. So whichever party was in control, they fired everybody who worked for the state or most of the people and brought in their people. So that's why the whole civil service system was even created, so that when there was turnover in which party controlled the state of Michigan as the employer, there wasn't a turnover in employees. And we do not want to go back there. At least I don't. Yeah. And so I'm going to sum up, because I know Brian has to close us out. And I'm sure he's going to add whatever remarks he wants, because we have to talk about how we're going to build back a strong union for us. It's going to require all of us. We must continue to pay our dues. We're going to have to encourage our friends and coworkers to pay the dues. While paying dues is a personal choice, it impacts all of us collectively, because if we don't have a union, we all don't have a union collectively. If we do have a union, it impacts us. We must vote our best interests on working people at the ballot box. that's what impacts us the most. I explained earlier how each area that we represent is impacted because somebody who's elected at the ballot box or not elected because we didn't vote will impact our livelihoods. I would have never thought, this is a shout out to Brian, I would have got away from party politics. I'm policy politics now. Yeah, I want to know how you voted in prior elections because votes don't lie when it comes to incumbents. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Let me go look at your record and see what you've done. And we need people to start stepping up and volunteering on committees and for events. We have a co-committee. We have the new hire orientation committee. We have lots of committees where we need help. We not only need to encourage our current members who may have opted out or didn't reauthorize, we got to catch people when they're coming in the door. They're getting younger and they're far removed from the labor movement. A lot of us that are older, because we're in Michigan, we all know somebody who used to work for the UAW and was a member. We got to get back to making sure we get people. Make sure you're registered to vote and make sure you actually show up to vote. And make sure you vote for people who have you and your family's best interest as working people at heart. Like I said, votes don't lie and elections have consequences, whether good or bad. So my question to you is, what are you going to do to make sure you keep your union and grow your union? Because we're all in this together. I'm going to turn it over to Brian, unless Jeremy has something to add before Brian closes out, or anyone, or any of our other officers or executive board members that are on. Okay.
All right. Wow. Great. That was awesome. So my name is Brian, Grow Husky. I tell people it's what you do in wintertime. You grow husky because it is not pronounced like it's spelled. But in any case, I'm serving currently as the treasurer, and that is all new to me. John Ack is on the call, and I want to thank him for his years of service in that area, helping to steer the finances. But just for closing remarks, I think a lot of what I was planning to say was just said by a lot of you who just spoke. Specifically, the fact that we have a union and the reason that that is so important. And I think we really should continue to hammer the positives as well, that we help to create a culture in our workplace as well. That's something I never really thought of until Jeremy actually started leading our group. So that's something he's big on as well, as a workplace culture. Unfortunately, that includes under right to work, getting non-members signed up, new employees that are coming in. So you're probably going to see a little more coming down the road for that, asking for your help. Consequently, Dave Corey, I was going to ask you if you could maybe drop your email in the chat for anyone who would like to volunteer to help with the new employees or be part of our political action committee, COPE, because I will say that that is something we are planning to reboot. We have permanent labor issues, but we don't really have permanent friends. So those are the things that we go to work on that front. Thank you, Dave. Dave is excellent at organizing and getting information out to people. So one of the other things I wanted to share, a couple of victories just to help close us out. I know in Region 3, we spoke, one of the executive board members earlier today talked about how they won almost $22,000 for some of our members under the American Relief Plan during COVID, because a lot of their members were directly impacted by that. They denied, the employer over there in Flint denied 5 people those benefits because they didn't work the entire window or they worked for home for part of that time. And we were able to file a grievance and win them at least partial of that money as well. For those of you who are state employees, you may remember that we got some time off as well during COVID, and we got thousands of dollars that were put into the bank from the relief program as well for us for taking that time off. That was money the state of Michigan didn't have to spend. So it saved some of the budget there. And not all unions got that. That is something that SEIU 517M, Jeremy really reached out to point out that that was an option for our employers. And so that was a benefit. We actually got more money than we would have if we worked during that period. So that was a huge benefit for some of our members there. We're actually also working on getting a bill passed as well that could provide some more money for public employees who are out there. And all of you out there, I mean, that's another thing, take pride in what you do. And we have people that are out there working with children, helping to protect children. We have people that are out there working on the roads, whether it be constructing those roads, engineering those roads, doing the safety for those roads. We have people working with veterans. We have people working in our food safety. We have people working in the environment. We have a great story to tell, and I'm really glad to see that's coming out on our website. So that's something I want you guys to continue to share as well with your family and friends. We really do need to share about the good government work we do, the good public employee work we do, because that's not a common thread that is shared in the newspapers and on the media very often. So with that said, I just want to say that I'm definitely proud that I'm a member as well. I've been since the year 2000 when I was hired, 22 years now. I also did not come into this thinking I would be a union leader in any way, shape, or form, but our liaison was really sharp. And when I had some concerns about not enough communication happening from the union, she pointed out that we're actually a member-led organization and asked me to step up. And she didn't even say it that way. She was really smooth. She just said, how would you like to help in that area? Because we could really use your help. And I was like, wow, I can't really complain if I'm not willing to be involved. So please help spread that message, get more of your coworkers engaged as well. And with that, thank you so much for attending and going a little bit over today. Great to see everyone.
Thanks, Brian.
Sure.
Thank you everyone for attending, and hopefully we will see you next year. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
For your Saturday, everybody.